From the heart of Yerevan to all corners of the world, this is CivilNet's Daily News Digest for Thursday, November 7th. I'm Paul Chadurjian. Maria Titizan is on assignment in Prague at an Open Society Foundation's meeting on civil societies. In the headlines tonight, the Tuesday night riots and aftermath. Were Russian forces involved? How many were hurt? How many jailed? Details right ahead. Plus, Parliament commissions are crunching numbers. How much will they allocate to this year's construction of a major north-south highway? And the 1919 motion picture that's become the focus of interest for filmmakers and historians. We'll tell you who's talking about the rare visual presentation of the Armenian Genocide. Later, the exclusive screening of Atom Egoyan's soon-to-be released Devil's Knot. One community is about to get to see one of the film's first ever screenings. Armenian police are now saying they arrested 37 people during the Tuesday night anonymous riot. Among those arrested was Shant Harutyunyan. He's a former political prisoner who was involved in the 2008 post-presidential protest. He and his immediate group of supporters are still behind bars, but others were released after their arrests. The melee began when Harutyunyan declared a revolution, and just moments later, citizens wearing masks clashed with police. The riot in Armenia coincided with the worldwide Million Mask March protest against corrupt governments and greedy corporations. The masks are homage to Guy Fawkes, who tried and failed to blow up the House of Lords in London and to also assassinate the king on November 5th, 1605. On the same date, some 220 rallies and protests were planned around the world this year, including here in Yerevan. More than 200 citizens gathered in Liberty Square and tried to march from the opera to the president's residence, but they were stopped by a police force that outnumbered them. Armenian police say nearly a dozen citizens and 8 officers were injured, including one officer who was stabbed. Harutyunyan has been protesting near the opera, saying he is starting a revolution. The number of plainclothes officers was higher than usual, and it was not clear who was clashing with whom. There's also discussion about which police forces were present at the scene. Russian language tags and labels on some of the jackets have led some to believe that Russian special forces were engaged. Others say these were Armenian special forces with Russian labeled clothing. An official from Iran's electrical network is negating the Armenian Ministry of Energy's initial announcement that the massive power outage in Armenia over the weekend was because of a loss of power from Iran's electrical grid. About a month ago, Armenia began importing electricity from Iran when the Metsamor nuclear plant went offline for a 2-month-long servicing. Armenia's energy ministry now says a commission has been set up to try to figure out why a relay system shut down and disconnected Armenia from the Iranian grid. The commission will also discuss how to prevent similar incidents in the future. The European Union's advisory group to Armenia held its 14th regular board meeting yesterday and delivered its latest assessment of the challenges ahead for the Armenian Republic. The report points out that the Armenian Republic needs to pay attention to reforms in criminal, administrative, and civil justice. The advisory group also provided recommendations on how Armenia can overcome challenges in dealing with human trafficking, cybercrime, money laundering, and financial crimes. The report says Parliament needs to strengthen its relations with civil society and agencies that promote human rights. The report says Parliament also needs to develop a new anti-corruption strategy. High-ranking officials from the President's office, the government and the National Assembly, embassies of EU member states and international organizations, including UNDP, attended the meeting. National Assembly commissions are reviewing the government's 2014 budget proposal ahead of a vote next month. Included in the budget is more than 40 billion dirhams, or about $988,000, for the construction of the north-south highway in Armenia. Plans were approved nearly 4 years ago, and the 4-lane highway is scheduled to be 60% completed by the end of this year. The project is expected to be finished by 2017. It's designed as a major international trade route connecting Armenia to Iran and Georgia and beyond to Eastern Europe and Western Asia. The estimated $1.5 billion project will be expandable to 4 lanes and will allow Armenia better access to Georgian ports and European markets. The Asia Development Bank is allocating $500 million for the project, and another $100 million is coming from the Eurasian Development Bank. The National Assembly also recently approved the nomination of former military prosecutor Kevork Kostanyan as general prosecutor. To fill his previous post in the military, President Serge Sarkisyan has appointed Ardavast Harutyunyan as the new general military prosecutor and deputy prosecutor of Armenia. The president also appointed Father Mesrop Aramyan as his advisor for educational affairs. Father Mesrop is the director of the IPE Foundation's Board of Trustees. Another nomination from the president was Ishkhan Zakharyan for the post of president of the Controller Chamber or State Audit Department of the Republic of Armenia. Zakharyan was appointed as the president of the Control Chamber in 2007, and his term ended a few days ago on November 5th. The nomination of Ishkhan Zakharyan will be reconfirmed during the next 4-day session of the National Assembly. Almandi, the Armenian subsidiary of Société Générale and the ACBA Credit Agricole Bank, together with Credit Agricole, has just submitted its application to the Central Bank of Armenia requesting the CBA's approval for establishment of a pension investment fund. A new law will allow private pension funds to service the retirement accounts of all those born after 1974. The new pension system is expected to provide each citizen of Armenia with a way to securely save for retirement through a privately managed pension fund, which is a new concept for Armenia. The new pension plan requires each participant to pay 5% of his or her salary into a retirement account. The state will then contribute another 5% from the national budget. One of the authors of the Third Armenian Republic's constitution was honored late Tuesday night. Friends, family, and colleagues of the late Eduard Egoyan gathered to honor his legacy. Egoyan was the president of the Democratic Homeland Party and a member of parliament representing the Pan-Armenian National Movement. He helped draft the 1990 Declaration of Independence and wrote a large part of the 1995 Constitution. He was honored on the occasion of what would have been his 60th birthday. His son, attorney Dikran Egoyan, organized the event at the Tekehan Center. Those attending watched clips from a documentary film and celebrated a new book that's out about the public servant. In London, the National Competitiveness Foundation of Armenia, along with 10 Armenian travel agencies, represented Armenia at the World Travel Market Annual Exhibition this week. More than 5,000 travel agencies from 184 nations were part of the expo, and nearly 50,000 people were expected to participate. A spokesman for the group from Armenia said their goal was to present Armenia as an attractive and multifaceted tourism destination. The Armenian edition of Forbes magazine is launching in the next few days. The inaugural issue of the monthly will be the 30th overseas edition for the magazine. On the cover, none other than Kirk Kerkorian. The philanthropist donated millions of dollars to his ancestral homeland. He's well known for his ownership of half of Las Vegas, the purchase and sale of the MGM studios, and his net worth of nearly $4 billion. The Fresno native ranks 118th in Forbes magazine 400 Richest Americans. By the way, the Forbes International Publishing Director is Dana Kalajian Lagani. She is said to have had a great interest in launching the Armenia edition of her magazine. Now today's exchange rate. They're on the screen right in front of you as we take a look at the forecast. Yerevan will be partly cloudy with a high of 19. The high in Gyumri will be 11 degrees. Stepanakert will reach 17 degrees, and in Moscow, where the Armenian population is said to be equal to the number of people in Yerevan, the high will be 12 degrees. And in honor of Moscow, you're listening to one of the theme songs of 1966 Russian comedy movie Kavkazskaya Plenitsa, or Kidnapping Caucasian Style. In sports, two of the best professional boxers Armenia has ever produced will be fighting in Texas this weekend. Both Vic Darchinyan and Vanes Mardirosyan will be fighting for a broadcast to be seen on HBO Boxing After Dark. The matches will take place at the American Bank Center in Corpus Christi. Good luck to both. The Hamaskayan Armenian Educational and Cultural Society of the Eastern United States is now accepting submissions for the Minas and Kohar Toloyan Prize in Contemporary Literature. The prize is named after one of the major Armenian literary critics of the second half of the 20th century and his wife, a devoted teacher of literature for decades. There will be two $1,500 cash prizes that will recognize the work produced by talented writers working in North America. The prize will be announced at Hamaskain's annual PAN gathering in May of next year. All submissions must be sent electronically to Lolyan_award at hamaskain-usa.org. Hers was the face of the Armenian Genocide, Aurora Mardiganian. The biography of her eyewitness account sold nearly 500,000 copies in 1918. She also played herself in the silent film also titled Ravished Armenia, a motion picture about the actual horrors of the deportation process. Aurora's book and film helped raise more than $100 million to help survivors, but that film subsequently disappeared. Ravished Armenia has since become the focus of interest by filmmakers, historians, and others interested in the rare visual documentation of the Armenian Genocide. CivilNet live-streamed the Zoryan Institute's discussion about Aurora and commemoration plans for the Armenian Genocide Centennial, live from Toronto this morning. You can watch it on demand on civilnet.am. The Institute has over the years conducted nearly 1,000 videotaped interviews of genocide survivors, including Aurora Mardiganian. Participating, Dr. Chyme Moyan, director of the Armenian Genocide Museum Institute, and Atom Egoyan, internationally renowned filmmaker from Toronto, and we're proud to say a member of the honorary board of the Civilitas Foundation. They called her the Armenian Joan of Arc. Learn about her legacy and the personal story behind Ravished Armenia by following the link on your screen. Also in Toronto, Hamaskain's 8th annual Pomegranate Film Festival is underway this weekend. 40 films from 16 nations are on tap, including the second screening ever of Atom Egoyan's yet-to-be-released crime thriller Devil's Knot, starring Reese Witherspoon. We spoke to Hago Porposyan about what other surprises the festival has in store this year.
A couple of the themes we have going on is a focus on Armenian cultural icons. So we have films about William Saroyan, Sergei Parajanov, Misak Mezaren, Zalia Varujan, and then we're also focusing on celebrating local talents.
You can see the full schedule at pomegranatefilmfestival.com. That's our digest for this Thursday. See you tomorrow.
Трутся спиной медведи, а земную ось. Мимо плывут столетия, спят подо льдом моря. Трутся обоз медведи, вертится земля. Ла-ла-ла-ла-ла-ла. Там, где всегда мороз, быстрее спиной медведи, а земную